And I'll share with you guys like kind of an internal joke at Mindful Leaders. If you want to derail a meeting and just have me kind of go on and on about something, just bring up AI. Like, there we go. But I'm curious, when you guys hear AI, before we get started, like what comes up with all that's happening around AI? Say it again? Chat GTP. What else? Diverse perspective.
I was going to say pros and cons.
The pros and cons. Very good. Human moderation. Fear. Thank you for saying that, because there's definitely a lot of that.
I'm going to say
Skynet, yes. Very true. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about AI, then we're going to get into some of the ways that it's going to affect us. This is something that my hopes are that there's going to be more and more conversations around. We've only got about 30 minutes, and so we will get a chance to talk a bit more. I also want to be very honest with you guys. Obviously, I'm running around doing quite a lot, and so I put the finishing touches on this presentation probably like an hour ago, much to the chagrin of Kylie, who's been on all the speakers' cases to get their slides in, and so I better sweat a little bit, but here we go. So 3 ways artificial intelligence will help shape the mindfulness field. And actually, before we get started, has anyone seen any of the articles that we've been putting out around AI? Raise your hand. Okay, well, some of you guys might be familiar with some of the things that we'll cover. So the first thing, why I have a buzz about AI? And I will mention this image we created using AI, using Edjlali, one of the AI programs out there. And you'll see a lot of the images that we use in our articles and our blogs we're actually generating using AI and playing with it. And so AI has been around for a while. You guys probably remember like Pandora early on, where it was kind of guessing the songs you like, and now Spotify is taking that to a whole other level. Netflix and YouTube magically seem to know everything we like and keep feeding us that stuff. So AI has been around for a while, but what's really changed, and I heard someone shout out ChatGPT, is ChatGPT, and this kind of new form of AI. And I should mention my background is computer engineering. I've been obsessed with technology for a very, very long time, and so this crossover of AI and mindfulness is just like one of the most exciting topics for me. But so we've got ChatGPT, and a lot of folks are familiar with ChatGPT. It's generative AI, which means it's kind of creating things. But what's really particularly unique, and I'll share, Geoffrey Hinton was the professor at University of Toronto, and I heard him describe it this way. And so I'm basically taking from what he said. But in the past, you'd show a computer program a picture of like a bird. And then the program would kind of go in there and figure out, okay, does it have this attribute using geometry and algorithms to kind of figure it all out, and you program that. With ChatGPT, what was different was that you would just give it an image of a bird and say, this is a bird. And then you keep feeding it to kind of get it to understand without telling it what to look for. And it would kind of, on its own, understand somehow like what a bird looks like, and all of a sudden they were able to show it something and say, oh, that's a bird. And if you could imagine, it's almost like a black box. Like you don't know what's happening inside it. All you know is you kind of feed it a certain input and you're getting a certain reaction, but there's like some stuff going on inside it. And in many ways, there's a lot of excitement about that stuff that's going on inside it. And there's a lot of fear because they're emerging capabilities. So to give you a quick example, and with both Microsoft, Google, OpenAI, they're all developing all sorts of things. But I think it was the Google AI Bard where they had taught it certain languages, like intentionally and sort of plugging it in. And then all of a sudden, on its own, it like had figured out how to translate and understand a completely different language that no one had taught it. And for me, and there's a frightfulness to that, and there's just an extraordinary like excitement because we don't actually know what's kind of going on in there, and it's showing incredible signs. I started playing with ChatGPT 3 almost 2 years ago. When ChatGPT 3.5 came out, I was freaking out. If you worked at Mindful Leader, you heard a whole lot about ChatGPT. I was telling everyone, start using it now. This is like in February. I'm like, everyone's gonna figure this out. And so the buzz is that we're kind of on a new age. Like what AI could do is truly phenomenal, and I'm going to give you guys a little bit of some of the parts of that. But one of the things that I heard come up, this is another AI-generated image, are we heading into Armageddon or into some sort of utopia? And so definitely I want to kind of talk about some of the concerns around AI. Whenever I talk around AI, people have concerns, and validly so. And so I like to just kind of just talk about some of the key ones, just so that we could get into some of the nuts and bolts. And we did a survey actually through our newsletter, and we've been playing with the idea to are people interested in learning more about how to use AI for this work? And we've got 90,000 people in our email list, and 50 people completed the survey. And so within our audience, broadly speaking, there's still a lot of confusion, doubt, concerns about AI, and people are still trying to figure out, where does this fit? Like, how does this fit? And in those survey results, there certainly was a lot more fear and the lack of understanding, like, what is this even? Like, how's it going to affect things? There's a great YouTube video, a talk that was done by the guys who did Social Dilemma, Tristan Harris, and the Center for Humane Technologies. And they did a great talk called The AI Dilemma, which I'd encourage folks to check out. We put out an article on this too, and I'm just going to highlight some of the things that Tristan kind of helped highlight. And Tristan is the guy who really helped bring a lot of attention to what folks like Facebook were doing, and sort of this attention grab and profiteering off of our attention in ways that were detrimental. So really quick, some of the things to consider that could fuel the attention economy. So we've already got a problem with folks like YouTube and Facebook and all these others that have really learned how to tap into our attention. AI will take that to like a super crazy degree, like what it could do. It'll know you in ways that it could very, very much manipulate and kind of hook you and keep you going. There's unpredictable and emerging capabilities, and as I was mentioning, like, it's sort of this black box. We don't know what's going on inside it. Like, it could do things that we didn't expect because we didn't kind of tell it exactly what to do. So on one hand, it's exciting. On the other hand, like, it could do something that you completely didn't expect and came out of nowhere. There's concerns around privacy and manipulation, right? And so just imagine all the concerns that we have now just accelerating and just adding kind of gasoline to that. There's exponential growth and the potential to lose control. And you guys might have been familiar a few months back, a whole bunch of really high profile folks signed a petition to limit and reduce AI usage. And there's a lot of stuff going on in Congress now, because there's a moment where it could kind of take off on its own and we might not have control of it again. And adequate safety measures in vulnerable populations. So imagine AI calling an 85-year-old woman who's at home, mimicking her son's voice, asking for her credit card information, right? Like, there's some things that could get really, really wild. And then there's also this potential for a concentration of power in an arms race where everyone's kind of competing to get the super AI that will kind of rule all other AIs and rule the world. And so all that's happening now. And so there's definitely this danger to it. At the same time, the possibilities are really incredible. And for me, I try to maintain that balance of both optimism and to be really skeptical and aware. And so in both cases, we've got this wonderful potential for potentially Armageddon and the things that AI could do for us. So I'll speak just briefly to the positives. The potential for AI is extraordinary. And when I listen to some of the kind of key tech leaders out there, I mean, we might be able to reduce the cost of things through the use of these technologies in a way that material things will be free. I mean, that's sort of what we're looking at. It's really, truly amazing. And freeing people up from mundane tasks, dangerous tasks, hazardous things, a level of creativity like you've never seen before. That insanely new discoveries on a pace that you would never imagine. But we'll get more into that. So let me advance here, and then let's just crack some. So we'll see both sides of this. Here's how AI-backed tools can help workers' stress and mental health, right? And then you have AI's rapid adoption could hurt workers' mental health, experts warn. So you've got both these sides. And today we're going to look more on one of the sides, but we'll get more into it here. So AI is here to stay. There's no stopping it. You're going to see it all over. It's kind of like the internet. It's going to get infused into everything we do, just part of our daily lives. I had a conversation with one of our teammates, and her son said something to her like, "Don't Google that," because they were having a conversation. "Don't Google that, and don't ask AI." And so it's already starting to kind of creep into our daily lives, and people are joking about it. But we're going to talk about 3 ways it will help shape our field, and I do have some videos here. So this is the first one. So we're going to have digital AI clones, and I'll talk a little bit more about this. We're going to see a little video about digital Deepak. This was launched almost 2-3 years ago. So before ChatGPT, this was being done. Deepak Chopra is part of there's all these kind of strange hybrid nonprofit, for-profit things emerging, and he's part of one of the AI ones out there where they focus really on video imaging. But right now, you could go search and download digital Deepak to your phone and have your own Deepak Chopra in your pocket 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, at any time, that will talk to you, coach you, console you, and have your own little mini Deepak. And let's see, I think I've got a video in here.
Now with Deepak Chopra, yes, you know him, you love him, but you've never seen him like this before. He has a new app with a tech twist, the initiative to increase well-being and calm. So say hello to digital Deepak.
Hello, Amy and TJ and everyone at GMA3. I'm so happy to be here. To break the cycle of self-doubt, you must find the place inside yourself where nothing is impossible. Digital Deepak is my mind twin. I started creating it. It is a personal coach in 7 areas of well-being. Digital Deepak gets to know your habits and your aspirations. Digital Deepak took a whole new meaning during the pandemic because the older people who succumbed to this pandemic, COVID-19, already have risk factors like depression, anxiety, and chronic inflammation. The younger people have what I've called an inflammatory storm. Spending too much time on these devices totally ruins your health and well-being.
This kind of AI has the potential to know you better than yourself. If you folks are familiar with Yuval Harari, the guy who wrote *Sapient*, and this potential for technology and for companies to know you better than yourself. I mean, imagine this digital Deepak would have access to all your emails, all your texts. It hasn't happened yet, but it's coming. Access to all your text messages, access to everything. It will know you better than you know yourself. Like, it'll be able to read your calendar, understand everything, and be able to predict things in an extraordinary way. And this has been out there. Now, they haven't incorporated kind of those ChatGPT generative AI capabilities into this even yet. And so this is like sort of a precursor that hasn't even really taken off. And so on one side, it's kind of scary. I mean, Deepak is kind of immortal now. Like, the folks who have wanted to be immortal, imagine you have a digital Deepak in your pocket. It gets to know you. That same digital Deepak, you might be able to hand off to your kids. Like, you could kind of carry your kind of information forward. It could, in some ways, even say support a group where it kind of knows, or a couple, right? There's so many interesting possibilities and things that, again, could be a little bit frightful. At the same time, this is available 24/7. So imagine, having a therapist, and I know we have some therapists here, and I don't want you guys to get concerned about your jobs just yet, but imagine instant therapy with someone who's like with you all the time, that knows you better than anyone, and that has been trained and super smart from all the different therapies that are out there. And so we're looking at some things that are extraordinary, and then the cost and accessibility. So there is a real disparity with people who could afford therapy and even know how to get to it. And so imagine all the folks that could be reached and impacted in positive ways. But again, there's also a lot of ethical concerns and biases and like all the things that we're looking at now. AI takes it to a whole other degree. So let's go with the next slide here. Oops, let's get past this. Oh, we have sound. All right, we'll save sound for the next one, but I think we're good for now. And so this is right now, and you guys has anyone seen this person, AI person now? You'll see it all over the place. This company called Synthesia, has the ability to go sign up for their website. They offer a service, and you could tell this AI person like what to say. And so say you don't want to do a presentation and you just want to set up someone else to do it for you, you could like pump it all in, and it's extraordinary. I mean, it's not quite, you could tell it's not human, but we're getting closer and closer. And so soon you'll have the option to scan your face, put your images in, and create your own digital Deepak. Like you could do it for yourself. And imagine there's all sorts of frightful things. I could keep talking about this stuff, but people haven't even looked at this in terms of memorializing folks, like when they pass away, to create a digital copy that continues with their family and with folks. So all sorts of things are happening around this. Another great tool, and this is one I would suggest that everyone go check out. This is practical right now. And it's a company called Descript. And imagine it learns from your voice. It could do AI of your voice. And you could sign up right now. I mean, you could go home, you feed it a bunch of samples of your voice, and it could guide a meditation for you. Or you could take it and say you have a guided meditation and you made one mistake. You could go back and it could fix that mistake for you instead of re-recording the whole thing. It's extraordinary. And then Adobe has some fantastic tools with AI cleanup. You could be in traffic, guiding a meditation. Adobe's podcast tool will remove all the background noise, make it sound like HD studio quality. And this stuff has been out. Like we're already behind. Like this stuff's already out there. So just imagine what's to come. It starts to get freaky. Oh man! So hopefully, this is the way I want to make sure that we've got the audio. Awesome. Let's see. And then,
all right, get ready, because tonight's Future of Everything is mind bending, or actually mind reading, because it's looking a lot more like AI is capable of reading our thoughts. And we're not just talking about it predicting what kind of TikTok we want to see next or what kind of products we might buy. This next breakthrough is a lot deeper, all the way down to the very tissue of our brains, where researchers have used AI to translate brain scans into text. Now, for the study, scientists at UT Austin created a 3D view of a person's brain while they listened, watched, or imagined a story. And see, we've got it for you right there. That pink stuff, all that pink stuff means above average brain activity, and the blue spots have below average brain activity. And to us, we see that and we're like, okay, that part's activated, that part's not. But researchers say the AI was able to read the brainwaves and translate all of that you're seeing right there into English and turn it into what looks like inner dialogue.
This is a real leap forward compared to what's been done before, which is typically on like single words or short sentences, where you can get something about the gist of a sentence or something about, what a word is related to. But we're getting whole strings of text with pretty complicated ideas.
Okay, so what does that actually look like? Check this out. Here are the volunteers, and the volunteers were asked to watch a movie clip without audio, and this is what the AI described. You're seeing it right there, actual stimulus, and they described, I see a girl who looks just like me get hit on her back, and then she is knocked off, end quote. The eyes saw it, the brain processed it, and the AI typed out what they were thinking. I'm still trying to figure out how that would even work. With us now is Nita Farahani.
Like, the potential is extraordinary, right? It's like a kid growing up on sci-fi, like this is just like, whoa. Like imagine you could translate your dreams now. Like that's where we're at. Like you could have eventually things hooked up that will be able to kind of display what's going on in your mind. And it's just extraordinary. And they actually did this with ChatGPT 1.1. And again, like this stuff's already happened. This is old news, right? The rest of this, and I suggest you guys check it out. They actually had a researcher from Duke who wrote a book around how we need to protect our brain data from companies, right? So on both sides, there's this extraordinary potential. But imagine if Facebook and Google could read your brain, like what comes, right? It's so I'm super excited, but always just kind of going in with that caution of like, wait a minute, like where are we going? Like how's this whole thing gonna develop? But for me, like, I've been sharing this with everyone. We put articles out, and I know everyone was busy. And I was like, we're gonna play this video so everyone gets to see it and see it from themselves, because the potential is just extraordinary. Now, I should also mention, think about folks who might have disabilities that limit their ability to talk, right? Like, just, there's so many things that this opens up. And I saw a talk, like, again, it's exciting and concerning. They're using similar technologies to understand animals, right? So AI will allow us to kind of understand all this stuff that we didn't quite understand before. And there's a great talk out there with the guy who actually started the Humane Society with Tristan. I can't remember his name, but I could figure out, we might do an article about it, where he's using similar technologies to understand and communicate with animals. And we're already at a point that we could take whale and dolphin sounds and have a conversation. Like, we could do that now. The problem is, like, we don't know what we're saying. Like, we can kind of take their language, understand it, manipulate it, feed it back to them, but we have no idea what we're saying, and the implications can get really, really wild. But at the same time, you know, there's these pros and cons. Like, imagine if we could understand what animals are saying, how that might shift our relationship with animals and the planet in general, right? So there's a lot of things to be excited about, and there's a lot of things to be concerned about at the same time. So next, imagine those two things combined, right? Imagine you've got kind of a digital Deepak kind of AI that could read all your emails, knows your location, knows your whole history, is connected to everything, and you've got some sort of, you know, headset, or maybe it's AirPods or something with low fidelity. AI could make a lot of sense. It's able to tune into what's happening in your mind. You've got this inner dialogue. You've got this, and so it could real time kind of buzz you and say, "Oh, hey, stop worrying about the game tonight. Everything's gonna be fine," right? Like, it's just phenomenal and frightening at the same time. And imagine if you have this kind of thing connected to a group of folks. Again, like, it might be a couple, it might be a family, it might be an organization. How you start to get, you know, we're talking Star Trek stuff now, right? Like, we're talking like almost Borg and extraordinarily exciting things. But at the same time, we want to be mindful. But these things are there. These things are in place. The technologies are out there. People are working on these, and I think it's really important for us to be aware of it and figure out how this might impact us. And I'll mention another thing also about this, the mind reading and AI coach. Imagine that you're trying a meditation and you're trying to figure out what works for you. Like, these things could help us figure that out better than any human currently can. You might try this kind of meditation, you might try that kind of meditation, and it could help tell you, okay, well, this is working for you, this isn't. Or maybe, you know, 9 a.m. is the best time for you to practice. Like, the possibilities just get extraordinary, and it could even do that real time. Like, say you're doing a awareness of breath type practice, and your little AI coach comes on and says, hey, you know what, from what I'm scanning, you might be better off doing a body scan right now. Like, it just gets wild. And our understanding, I was joking with a friend of mine, like, everything we learned in elementary school, like, is going to be disproven or flipped upside down, like just across the board. We're going to learn it in an incredible amount, and it's going to open things up, whether it's through just mental health and in other ways. But AI is here to stay. So next, what's next? And here's some just things to consider. I know sometimes these things could be exciting, but they also could be a little bit disturbing, right? Like, we don't know what's to come. We're in an environment currently where power is quite often abused, and things could get a little bit frightening. And we've got, I'm doing a talk tomorrow, Wakefulness, where we're going to explore some of these things, but you could really abuse these things. So we really want to be careful about balancing that optimism and that excitement with just having that critical mindset and continue to stay skeptical of what's being put out there. I also want to suggest, and I mentioned some of the tools, but figure out what could be of use to you now. And I'm just curious, actually, show of hands, and please, feel free to share whatever makes sense for you. But if you're using ChatGPT now, raise your hands. Okay. If you're using ChatGPT daily, raise your hands. Okay. Fair number of folks. And there are tons of AI tools out there right now that we mentioned. And actually, I'm curious just to hear a shout out. How are you using ChatGPT? Just for folks to hear.
Actually, I use it to help come up with ideas for blogs for the business.
Very good. Ideas for blogs for your business. Thank you. Back.
Or understanding things. Yeah, and it's frameworks, things like that.
I understand governance frameworks. It's wonderful just pumping in like all sorts of stuff. Like, tell me this at like a high school level. I do that with some of the neuroscience stuff that's out there myself. Who else would like to share?
I can use it to in school to summarize research articles for me, so I can decide which one.
Summarizing research articles, excellent. It is really great at summaries. Thank you. And so I want to encourage folks to get out there and play with this. Early on, I talked to folks and they'd tell me how terrible ChatGPT was and how they were scared. And I'm like, have you tried it? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what to say. So really, we just want to encourage folks to get out there. It might not be as frightening as you think. And then check out some of the tools I mentioned earlier and just expect more and more tools and for AI to be integrated into all the tools that we currently use. What else? Look out for emerging discoveries and new capabilities, right? So these things are doing magical, strange things. And I think, again, we're going to continue to hear more and more about ways that AI is being applied and helping in wonderful and exciting ways. Really want to advocate for the promotion of AI literacy and education. And what do I mean by that? Like, we don't want to be in the camp of like, oh, let's be scared and just say no and run away from it. We don't want to be in the camp of, oh, this is great, let's not question anything. We want to get educated. We want to ask tough questions. We want to understand, because only from that framework can we really affect things, right? We want to get informed. Brace yourself. Basically, going to get exciting, and I couldn't think of a better way to say it. But exciting for me, and I hope for everyone. Like, really, we're on the cusp of just incredible potential for humanity, right? We've got this potential of AI doing extraordinary things. We've got the potential for clean, low cost, unlimited energy. Like, there's some really exciting things happening. And on the flip side, we've got some pretty frightening things happening. But my hopes are, and I'm just an optimist, but to really look forward in ways that we could embrace AI, be careful of its potential hazards, in ways that it might transform humanity and possibly bring more equality and equity in ways that we hadn't imagined. So that's my talk. Thank you, everyone.